Let's be real. The world of finance you're about to walk into, it's completely different from what it was just a few years ago. It's faster, it's smarter, and it's running on a whole new set of rules. Today, we're going to dive deep into the framework that defines this new reality, a really powerful concept developed by Shambo Sen. So let's start with a thought experiment. And I want you to really think about this for a second. What would actually happen if, for just one day, all financial data just vanished? I mean, the bank buildings are still standing, the ATMs are still physically there, but without the data, what could you do? And the answer to that question, it kind of gets to the heart of everything we're going to talk about. Without that data, you can't check a balance, you can't approve a payment, you can't even get a loan. The entire system would just freeze. See, this is the big reveal. Modern finance isn't really about physical money anymore. It's all about trusted information about money.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at this new reality. Then we'll get into why FinTech wasn't just a cool idea, but was absolutely inevitable. After that, we'll unpack the engine that runs it all, the FinTech value chain. From there, we'll learn how to think like an analyst. And finally, we'll talk about how all of this gives you a serious edge in your career.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, a new reality. This is all about getting our heads around how the simple act of making a financial decision has been totally revolutionized. The world you're stepping into, well, it operates on a completely different clock speed.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly, right? The contrast is just wow. The old way of doing things ran on human time. You'd have meetings, you'd look over monthly reports, and people would make judgment calls. But today, decisions are made in milliseconds. The systems act first. An algorithm decides to approve, reject, or just flag something suspicious, all before a person even knows it's happening. That's not just a change, it's a seismic shift.
So, of course, the big question is why? Why did everything change so dramatically? Let's jump to our next section and find out why FinTech was truly inevitable. You'll see this wasn't just a trend, it was a response to a massive problem. And the reason, when you boil it down, is actually pretty simple. The old system just wasn't built for the modern world. Think about it. Traditional finance was designed for a smaller number of customers doing slower transactions. It was never, ever meant to handle millions of people trying to do things instantly online. It was basically set up to fail in the digital age. And that is the exact problem that FinTech was created to solve. So for a second, forget about the cool apps and the slick interfaces. At its core, FinTech is really just the marriage of two powerful things: technology that gives us massive scale, and analytics that gives us the intelligence to make sense of it all. You put those two together, and you get what the modern world needs: real-time, data-driven financial decisions. All right, this next part is really the heart of this whole framework. We're talking about the FinTech value chain. You can think of it like this. If FinTech is the car, then this value chain, this is the engine. It's the step-by-step process that takes a simple tap on your phone and turns it into a financial result. Okay, so here's the full, formal diagram. And yeah, I know it looks like a lot, right? You've got your primary activities down at the bottom, your support activities up top. It looks complicated. But the good news is we can actually boil this whole thing down to a much simpler, much more powerful flow. And here it is. We can think of it as a 6-step journey. It always starts with the customer, who then performs some kind of transaction. That transaction generates a ton of raw data, which is then put through the process of analytics. The insights you get from that analysis lead to a decision, which ultimately has an impact on money, whether that's revenue, a cost, or a risk. Every single thing in FinTech follows this exact path. And this is my absolute favorite way to think about it, a brilliant analogy from the source material. Raw data is crude oil. I mean, think about it. The raw data from millions of transactions is messy, it's unstructured, and on its own, it's not very useful. The real magic happens in the analysis step. That's the refinery. It takes all that crude stuff and turns it into something incredibly valuable, like gasoline, or in our case, patterns, predictions, and insights that actually fuel the engine. Okay, so we've got the system down, we understand the engine. Now, how do you actually use it? How do you think inside this new world? That brings us to our next section. Think like an analyst. This is all about giving you a mental model you can use to solve real problems. Well, any really good analysis, any analysis that actually matters, follows these 3 layers. And the order here is absolutely critical. See, you don't start with the data. You start with the business question. What is the actual problem we're trying to solve here? Only then do you move to data logic. Okay, what information could possibly help us answer that question? And you always have to end with decision impact. So what? Based on our findings, what are we actually going to do? Because analysis without action is just a hobby. Okay, let's make this real. Here's a quick mini case for you. Imagine you're an analyst working at a payments app. Everything's going great. Your normal payment failure rate is sitting right around a predictable, easy to manage 4%. And then one morning you walk in, you pull up the dashboard, and bam, this is what you see: 18%. The alarms are blaring. And you know that every single percentage point there is lost money. And even worse, it's frustrated customers who might just delete the app and never come back. Now, a junior person might just panic and forward that big, scary number to their boss. But a real analyst starts asking questions. Is this happening at a specific time of day? Is it only failing for customers of one particular bank? Is it just affecting people on a certain type of device? Is it only happening in one city? See? This is what analytics really is. It starts with curiosity, not with code. And that process of asking those smart questions, that is your career edge. As you're getting ready to go out there, this is the thing that's going to make you stand out. This is why they're going to pick you. I mean, just look at how this applies across different roles. A payments analyst is exactly what we just talked about. A credit analyst is looking at data to figure out who's likely to default on a loan. A fraud analyst is basically a detective, hunting for weird behaviors in the data. They all have different job titles, but at their core, they are all using this exact same 3-layer model to turn data into action. Look, your finance degree gets you in the door. This way of thinking, that's what gets you the job and gets you promoted. Which brings us right to the end, and this quote just sums it all up perfectly. The whole point of learning all this isn't to turn you into a programmer. It's to make you effective. It's to give you the power to walk into any meeting, understand what the data is really telling you, ask the right questions, and push for smart decisions. That's how you become dangerous. In the best possible way, of course.